everybody. Welcome to Two Comma Coffee Club. And today we're going to talk about size doesn't matter. And
it does.
We will not be talking about penises, by the way. I know y'all want to talk about those. Maybe we will. I don't know. But basically, we're going to be talking about how the size of what you're trying to manifest doesn't fucking matter. Hello. So I see this a lot in a lot of the Facebook groups and a lot of just questions that come to me, come to us. All of these things is, can I have that? And most of the time, the underlying thing is that thing is bigger than me. Can I actually have it? And so your perception of the thing that you want, or the relationship that you want, or person that you want, you feel is bigger than you. And that's where your hang up is. So take it away, ladies.
Yeah. Well, I think, that's right. And I think it's to do with a lot of things that we feel are bigger than we are, because we're not paying attention to the first principle that we are God. So when we understand that and work from that, you're going to know that you're bigger than anything. And people often say, I'm bigger than the situation, but I don't know if they truly understand what that means. You actually have to not just try to convince yourself. You have to really be in the state where you feel it. It's feeling it and knowing it and feeling that connection. And then the other thing is that people always think in terms, when they think of the big things, the first things they want to are always the biggest thing, the best relationship, all the money, of course, health. But it's neglecting the fact that everything you're manifesting all the time. And so the little things, those yummy little things, are at least as important as the big things. And to your divine, when you're as God, all those things are basically the same. Mm-hmm. They're really not different. Then there's really no difference to, if you want to say the universe, but really that's you, to manifesting $1 million or manifesting a great cup of coffee. They're really pretty much the same thing. What do you think, Michelle? Where are we coming from here?
Size matters in other thing, but they don't matter when we are talking about our imaginal acts. But it also does. I've got a quote actually that kind of sums things up. It's from the Neville Goddard Infinite Potential book. God, I love this book. And when I think it's all about before I read the quote, what we've got to remember really is that the power, as Neville said, God is our imagination. The power's within us. And so when you desperately want something, I do this a lot. When you desperately want something so much, you believe that it's outside of you. It's out of your reach. You can't get it. And like, I've wanted a house for so long. I know my end. However, because it's not shown up yet, I return to the feeling of I've not done it right, or when is this ever going to happen? And when you keep feeling that feeling of desperation because it hasn't happened yet, you're therefore giving it the power and you're making it bigger than yourself. But it's not. It's if it's already within you, creation's already ended. It's already happened. And when I was having a little look earlier, what was it he said? It was after going into I desperately want it, when am I going to have it, have I done my sessions right? Because everybody questions themselves when they're practicing, when they're still doing this, when they're feeling their way, if you like, into the worlds of Neville and manifestation. It kind of comes back to how people really need to learn to live in the end. And it's how will you then know that it's done? How do you know that it's done, so that you are the one that's empowered, and you haven't given your power to that, if you like, you haven't lost it? And so Neville, actually, of course, we're talking about size doesn't matter. And so this is my kind of funny humor. It says, where is it? I've totally lost it now. Here we are. Okay, so somebody asks, how often should I perform the imaginal act until I know that it is done? And Neville says, when the feeling of reality is yours, for the moment at least, you are mentally impotent. The desire to repeat the act of prayer is lost, having been replaced by the feeling of accomplishment. So when we're talking about size, and size doesn't matter, Neville is now actually saying that satisfaction relates to sex. Okay, so when you finished the act of, say, sex, then you are satisfied, and impotence then follows. Because if impotence, you can't have impotence during, because it wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. It'd be impossible. So size doesn't matter. However, the feeling of satisfaction after the act has been fulfilled does. And so when we're saying size doesn't matter, it absolutely does not. It's the feeling that comes afterwards.
Yeah.
So satisfaction guaranteed if you're doing it right.
Yes. We have Gail watching. Hello, Gail.
Hey, Gail. I left my, I'll be right back, but go ahead. Say, hey, Gail.
You know, and something that I like to do is, I think, and it's a preference for me just because of the way I am. And this is where it ties back to, you've been doing this your whole life, guys. You've been doing it your whole life. There's nothing new here other than you now consciously choosing things, right? So right. The way I realize I operated in the past, manifesting things that I assumed to be bigger than me, was I brought logic into it. Like, it needs to make logical sense to me, or it's on the woo-woo train, and I already know I don't jump on the woo-woo train very well. So I looked at it as, like, for instance, when I was buying my house, at the time when I decided to buy a house, that seemed so much bigger than me. I had never bought a house before. I was 30 years old. You know, I knew nothing about this because it was not a territory that I'd ever walked into for myself. So it felt ginormous to me. But when I thought of it logically, I was pregnant with my third at the time. Logically, I needed to move. I needed to get out of the house I was in and move into a bigger house. I had to make room. So that was logical to me. The next logical thing was I needed to work on my credit score to make sure I get the best rates and I get the best mortgage and all of that, right? That was logical to me. And the great thing is, you can call it woo-woo, but literally, because I looked at it logically and started walking down that path, the bridge of incidents, things happen so quick that were miraculous, where I'm like, I couldn't have done this, you know what I'm saying? But it took me looking at it logically first. So if you're looking at something bigger than you, start looking at the tiny little logical things right before you, and it will start not seeming out of your league. Like it won't be bigger than you.
Yeah.
And then fast forward all the way, I found one of the biggest houses, square footage wise, in this neighborhood. I have the largest yard in the neighborhood. So I literally got the big thing, right? Way bigger than me, but I didn't feel like it was bigger than me by the time I made an offer on the house. And it was because I had to do it my way, the way I normally do things.
But the other thing is, it was natural. This is another,
Right.
this is very important in manifesting, is that feeling of it being natural. So when you got to that point, it was like, hey, so which is why when people want to manifest the big things, I mean, even though, we do congratulatory conversations so that people feel like there's a big celebration around it, but at the same time, the feeling inside of you is more like, yeah, of course, it's really like, it's not that, oh, I won the lottery. Although you can feel really fantastic, but it's also that feeling of, yeah, this is the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah. I had a coffee with my friend Anka, who you guys know from the Neville community, and she was talking about when she had done some imaginal acts, she maybe imagined the feeling of excitement. Now, when it actually came into fruition, she said that she didn't actually feel excited at all. It was just a case of, it's happened, because it was the natural way of it happening.
Right.
And she remembers querying this, thinking, well, why I imagined feeling excited. And it's because you have this anticipation, and because you feel it's bigger than you, there's this whole anticlimax of how you believe you should feel. And what you've got to realize is it's not about the falsehood of it, because it's only false because you don't think it's within your reach. How could I ever have that? I want this, whatever it is. And she said it was only until you don't have to believe that it has to happen a certain way and that you have to feel a certain way. It's about knowing it's done, not the falsehood of, oh, I must be excited because I've got it. It's got to happen naturally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it has to happen. It has to happen naturally.
And I was going to say, I've mentioned a couple times me manifesting an SUV, and there for a while, I kind of dropped the thought of it, because I was like, this is not the time, clearly, and I was not putting in the time to manifest it, right? So just a couple days ago, I'm like, okay, it's SUV time. Like, I need to get back on focusing on having that in my driveway. And as soon as I decided that, all of a sudden things started unfolding, where now I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sell my car. Go ahead and sell my car. Then I don't have my car payment. Then I can take that money, put a down payment on an SUV, drop my insurance down to liability. I work at home. Where am I going? So it's not like I need my car right now. We have 2 other vehicles. I'm okay without my car. And so before, I would have been very resistant to that. Like, no, I'm not letting go of my car because my SUV is just supposed to come to me. But logically, it would make sense. I need to get rid of this car first before I have my SUV. Why the hell would I have 2 cars? We'd have 4 cars. That's ridiculous. So I'm like, duh, the logical thing was to sell my car from the get-go. And I had so much resistance to it. And the SUV seemed so out of my reach in that sense. Now I'm like, aha, it's coming to me. I see now. Okay, well, I'll have it, you know, any day now, because I put logic there and because I decided. And part of that is deciding that it's not bigger than you, that it is
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Well,
We
yeah,
have
I mean,
has anybody been watching the thread? We have Neha here, and she wants to know how this can relate because she's looking at a career. Hi Neha, thank you for joining us. It's with regards to her career. Let me scroll down. Somebody said, "Oh, this will be good." Hey, love your accent. It's because I'm British. Here I'm very common. Believe me, it's a common accent. I've lost the thread now. Neha, what was it that you wanted to know? It was with regards to your career. Alessandra's joined us as well.
Right.
Neha wants a different career, Gail said. So how can she imagine and live in the end of a different career?
So wouldn't it be more about if it's a different industry or a different type of job in the same industry, but really it's not those specifics. It's really about feeling that you have a great job. I don't think it's got to do so much with that it's a specific job, but if you can imagine that it's a better job, so, or a different type of job in the same type of industry, feeling that you already have a fantastic job and people have congratulated you for it, that you already have that salary increase, that you already have all the perks or all the things that the better job can buy you. Maybe it's like new outfits to wear to work. You know, you might open your closet and you're imagining that you see a closet full of fantastic work outfits, or it might be something else to do with your, you know, or the great vacation that you took.
So she said, I'm manifesting multiplying my income, but I'm not sure if it's the same industries. I love this, the content, the book that I'm writing, but I don't know the specifics. How would you feel drinking a cup of coffee or maybe a glass of wine at the end of the day, satisfied with your day? You don't then have to put the specifics in. What you do need to do is feel the satisfaction of your day, knowing that it's gone your way. So where you want to multiply your income, would you be buying a more expensive bottle of wine? Would you have crystal glasses? Would you, if you're looking at writing, it doesn't have to be specific. Would you turn the light off of your office and look at your office and switch the light off, satisfied that you've had a good day writing? Whatever it is, you don't need to find the specific in it. You just need to know that it's a natural part of your day, so that then you're not making it bigger than you.
Yeah, that would be the perfect way to do it. You know, it's a natural part of your day. I mean, it might be, you know, what do you do at night? Do you take a walk? Do you relax? Are you with a certain person in your life? You know, are you drinking a glass of wine? So it can be that little ritual that you have at the end of the day, and that wonderful feeling you have that everything has gone your way. So that's basically how all, you know, the 2020 and Anya Emke, the manifesting queen, I'm not saying her name right probably, but they always, you know, when you're focusing that way, and I'm really getting into the role of that. When I say roll, I don't just mean the ROLE, but I mean the ROLL, the rolling with that at night when you go to bed, that you wake up and you know that it's going to, or your day ahead is already full of these wins of all kinds. And that when you wake up, you know, you're rolling with that. You've been through the day, but it's what's coming up is more wins. 20 always says, you know, in the morning, he's nailed, you know, a bunch. I mean, it sounds like an awful lot, 9, 10, 12 wins that he's going to have throughout the day, but he doesn't necessarily think of them all as these monster things. Yeah, he thinks about, doing a rocking podcast, as he says. We think about doing our show and it's going to be fantastic and having great, great number of views and having we're getting and having great comments and great feedback.
We're having.
And we're having, yeah. And it's really coming from starting to feel that that's already yours. You've already manifested that. And that begins to feel like something you just keep rolling with that feeling.
So something I have not mentioned, but this is great because we're on the top of careers. So so for everybody who doesn't know, I'm an epidemiologist. And what that is we investigate disease in a population. Well, COVID happens to be the latest and greatest disease that I've been spread very thin on the last year and a half. I'm fucking over it. So I decided, okay, when I go maternity leave, I don't want to go back. Yeah.
You hear what she said? Pay attention to this. She said,
I don't want to go back after maternity leave. Fuck it. I don't want to. So then I'm just going in my mind like, oh God, what am I going to do? Well, all the fear and all that shit. And then I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to watch my thoughts and just let them fucking fade away. And I would try things and I'm like, nope, that's not it. I've tried things, that's not it. And so it's getting closer and closer to maternity leave. And I'm like, well, I still don't have a plan. And so I'm like, but I know that I'm fucking over it. So go figure, at the same time at work, my same work center, they're like, hey, we got all this COVID funding. We're opening 30 new positions within the building. One of them is a promotion from where I'm currently at. It would be a promotion, and it's only dealing with the data and statistics of disease. I don't have to deal with people and their bullshit. It would be leveling up financially, and I'd be doing statistics instead of dabbling in everybody's crap, like I just said. So I thought about it at first. I'm like, that sounds very interesting, a good job for me. But then I'm like, no, I said I want out. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, wait a second, I fucking brought this opportunity to myself, because it would literally mean I'm working somewhere different after maternity leave. And it's a promotion. And I wouldn't have to deal with COVID in the capacity that I am. It's literally what I asked for, or what I decided. It just didn't look like me just quitting my job and running away. You see what I'm saying? It opened another door, another possibility into not only keeping my job, but now I'm going to be promoted and I'll be working in a whole different section, still as an epidemiologist, but doing something different, which is what I was wanting. I wanted something different. I wanted to get away from that crap. And so it fell on my plate. So once you decide this bullshit career I'm in right now, I'm done with it. I'm not doing it no more. The opportunities will fall in your lap, literally. And be on the lookout for that, because it may not look like what you want, or it may not look like what you thought it would be. Like I thought it would be me quitting my job and not having a job, right? But it actually opened up something even better for me that I go, oh, this is even cooler. Okay, I'm going to do that. So unfortunately, speaking of work, I have a meeting in 2 minutes. So I'm going to have to get off of here. But I hope that helped kind of bring awareness to that situation in particular. And I would love to do a part 2 on size doesn't matter, because I think
we should.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to get on how you actually live in the end, Nehas, this might be really good for you. You can go to the NevilleGoddardSummit.com/store, because we have for sale all 3 of our books in there. Mine, Dare to Imagine, Lene's, Anxious No More, and Val, Banish Your Money Anxieties. But we also have the transcripts of Living in the End, and they will be really good for you to live in the end of whatever it is that you want, especially career-wise. So go take a look. It's called Living in the End, the transcripts. And if you're after a better income, there's no better book than Valerie's. And if you're anxious about it, get Lene's. And if you just want the foundations of manifesting, go to get mine, Dare to Imagine.
All right,
That's
ladies.
all we have time for, isn't it?
Yep.
Short one today, but
Yeah.
we'll be back next week. We'll pick up either on this or in the near future. Do send us your questions and comments.
Yes, you can message our page directly, or you can email us at 2coffeeclub.com. We are open to suggestions on topics, and if you have any questions you'd like answered on any of the shows, please message us with them. Thank you, Gail. Thanks, Neha. Thanks, Alessandra. Thank you all for commenting and watching today. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.